Hey, black women. I just wanted to say a few words about this whole thing with Christian Keys, which I think is so goddamn disgusting, right? But typical of the behavior of too many black males. And this is why I always stress to black women, please stay away from them. You stay away from them, and definitely keep your children away from them, because it just seems like as 2023 is going out and 2024 is coming in, it seems like all this ill repute and sexual deviancy and huge predatory behavior seems to be just like becoming so overwhelming, and it's so sickening and bothersome. It's really crazy. And when I think about what happened to him and how these people are so influential and they have such a real impact on our black communities, and especially how things affect black women and children, it bothers me, right? It makes me think about how real to life that movie They Clone Tyrone was and is, when it comes to the circumstances that all these type of predatory behaviors and people bring into our communities, into our personal households, and the consequences of these things that they do to prey on other people. It is so nasty. It is so sickening. And all I can say is, listen, as this next year comes in, please try to refocus yourself and stay dead focused on self-improvement, taking all types of people out of your lives that are no good for you, who are extremely predatory, who are overly involved in alcohol, sexual deviancy, drugging, and all other types of bad behaviors and influences. Try to pull yourself away from that. Try to do what these women are talking about when they're speaking about centering yourself and living a life of luxury or quiet luxury that you provide for yourself, that you don't have to incorporate anybody else with. You do all the work yourself. Go to school, get a good career, make your money, surround yourself with other like-minded and black women of integrity and high morale, so that you're not interested in listening and worrying about what somebody like Simply Red has to say, or Sukihana, or Cardi B, or anybody like that that's always giving out something where it's something predatory involved. His story is sad, and it's really disgusting, because it makes me think about all the things that go on in real life that people turn their head away from, and they get this like, well, I don't really care, or that's kind of like how it is, and that's not the attitude to take. Like, we have power in this world, and we need to start coming together to utilize it, so these type of things go away or are significantly reduced. Like, do you guys know that, and I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was an FBI agent, right, who spent his entire career until he couldn't take it anymore and left being an agent, right, where he ran around the world shutting down human trafficking rings of children and adults, and was returning those people back to their families. This man came out with a movie that came out like later this year sometime. And do you know what the people, like the ones that Christian Keys is complaining about, did to that movie? Well, they tried to silence it as much as they could. And I mean, this goes all the way up to the political people who were involved in trying to suppress this information, because I forget the name of this movie. It's something like The Song of Freedom or Cry for Freedom. But just Google it, because it's a movie about an ex-FBI agent who is taking down human trafficking. But to get back to the point, this guy was trying to expose all this kind of stuff that Christian Keys is talking about, like right now. And they made it where the movie was only allowed to be released in a few cities and selected theaters, where it wasn't a worldwide release, where the everyday person could see, look how problematic this type of thing is, and look how this system of corrupt predatory behavior trickles down into the everyday lives of every woman, man, and child, and how we need to stand against this type of stuff, right? To make it stop And so that people who promote and condone this shit are no more in a position to do that. They try to do as much damage control as they could with the message this man was trying to get out. And so it's not by coincidence that you have all these people now fed up to here where they're like Christian Keys, Cassie, and etc. coming out and telling their stories now and letting people know, like, people are so sinister in places where they really should not be. But listen, we everyday people have a say in if they stay there. So if you do not support these people financially, they no longer are in the position to intimidate, molest, and manipulate people. So that's the main focus of what we need to get out of this message here. And we also need to think about the fact that we got to stop, because we like somebody, thinking that what they're being accused of is something they're not capable of doing, because everybody is capable of doing foul stuff. And when so many people are saying things about the same person, either directly or indirectly, there is some validity to that. Because when I first heard this story, I don't really follow Christian Keys like that, but I do like him because I've seen a lot of his work and I enjoyed it, right? And I also remember the one thing that he did that really made me feel good was some time ago, he had made a post where he had did a shout out to black women, right? I don't even remember exactly what it was that he said, but whatever he said, it sparked like a whole lot of back and forth and controversy, where mostly white women and other women were like, well, all women, to take away whatever the shine was he was trying to give to black women. I think it was something like, I can't remember, I wish I could remember, but it was something like shout out to all the beautiful black women or something like that. And then here goes some white woman, not black women only, but all women. And so he went on to explain how that white woman, whoever said that, and then all the many behind that one, who came out and could not let black women have the smallest amount of compliment, was a problem. And he went on to explain why people like her and who think like her are also contributing to the problem. And when he did that, that kind of like made me like him a lot more. And so to hear this, because like I said, I don't regularly follow him and stuff like that. I'm following him now because of this, because I want to see him press charges on all those motherfuckers and send them all to jail and prison the way they need to be. Because if they want to be booty bandits, send them to the places where they could be booty bandits and lovers of men all day and night, and be just like Nero and all the rest of them men lovers of that time. But that's the reason why I started to like him a lot. I just think it's disgusting and completely nasty that somebody with a little bit of power wants to come out and just take advantage of somebody else that is not corrupted in the way that they are. I think it's just gross, you know? And so I wish him all the best. And I really hope that black women, you know, support and speak out as far as Christian Keys is concerned. Like, I don't understand why black women who are in the position to make movies, put projects together, or whatever it is they do in Hollywood, they don't come and all stand together and create other movements where actors don't have to go through this. Because it's you guys know my story. You know that I can completely relate to Christian Keys with this sexual predatory behavior and deviancy of black males. I can relate to what he's saying. And it's just disgusting. And it is about time that people just start doing something about it. I mean, it's not enough to just acknowledge it. You have to literally do something about it. Like, we need to start emailing, writing letters, calling up, and letting people know, like, we don't want this anymore. We're tired of this whole casting couch thing for people, because it affects black women too, and black children, I'm sure, and everybody else. Like, We don't want any more of this sexual degeneracy being pumped into society as if that type of low-level behavior is acceptable, because we already see it being taught on YouTube and every other internet platform through socialization, and even some lunatics making movies like Buck Broken. You know what I mean? And it's like, enough is enough. So when we begin to speak out and we begin to not acknowledge all that type of low-level trash, like not being a fan of Chrisean Rock or dealing with paying attention to anything she's doing or giving that any life, Sukihana the same way, Cardi B, and anybody else who is promoting degeneracy. We don't need it. And I'll go a step further and say, black women, we got enough on our hands as it is. We got to worry about black femicide. We got to worry about child homicide, sexual assault of black women and children, and the human trafficking of our people by these very same black males that are now targeting, they always been targeting other black men. And it needs to stop. And it starts with us. It starts with us using a real level of discernment to stay away from people who are trying to throw all that ill repute into our society and make us accept it as the new norm or our new kind of normalcy, when it is definitely not. So listen, I don't know if all of y'all have heard him, but I pulled him up on Instagram, and I wanted to let you guys listen to a little bit of what he was saying in his own live. So I'll play it.
All right. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing amazing. I've been speaking to my brother about,
that must be hard for him,
making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. And I really, it's in my bone marrow to discuss that, because thankfully God built me the way that he built me, but I'm not sure, based on this person's claims and brags, that he's literally got, at the same time this person was sexually harassing me for years.
I believe it.
He was claiming, that he had
he was injured too, right?
Young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there.
That shit is nasty.
And
you got freaks on speed dial. That shit is nasty.
Clearly, that's why it felt to him that it was okay to say these things. And I want to have these discussions. I want to be transparent with y'all about that.
I gotta stop. Listen, I gotta end this video because I'm getting very angry, and the only thing I can say is this. I hope he gets an investigator who is crazy, homophobic, and does not like gay men who are predatory towards anybody. I really do, because just listening to him speak is killing me, because he got to do, whoever he's talking about, which I'm already assuming I know who it is. These two dudes got freaks on speed dial. So these people are basically like a hoe and a pimp, right? So they out there making money to get money, but gotta come toot their ass up anytime this person wants to play in their ass, so to speak. It's this shit is so disgusting. Anyway, listen, Anybody who's interested in listening to everything Christian Keys has to say, he's on Instagram, and it's just Christian Keys, and you can listen to this. But let me tell you, this shit is repugnant, and I am so disgusted by this shit. And I hope that this and everything else that happens, my concern is with black women, is for us to really wake up and stop supporting the fuckery in our communities and in our society. Like, stop patronizing people that are doing these type of things to other people. Stop getting involved with individuals that are low level and into all of this sexual illicit behavior and disgusting desires, because it ain't that serious. Sex is not that serious for people to be out here doing all this kind of crazy shit to men, women, and children. This is the reason why human trafficking is such an issue right now, because you got all these sick people running around unchecked in society. Black women, please see all this type of stuff, him, Cassie, everybody else, and hold your children close. Keep all these losers that may not have as much money as this man, but who are totally capable of doing the same type of sexual assault to you and those you love, out of your home and out of your life. Good night, black women. I can't. This stuff is just way too ridiculous. It's like you need to purge the world of all these sick bastards so that decent people with a level of morale and self-esteem and self-control can live in fucking peace. It's so sick. Good night, black women. Be well. Please stay away from all these people. Have a good night.